Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock follows the story of Marion Crane and Norman Bates. The story has a recurring bird motif that suggests the predator and prey relationship between them, but also the struggles within Norman Bates himself. First, the names of the main character already imply something about their personality. Marion Crane. A crane is a bird that normally symbolizes grace and beauty, and this may convey Marion's attractiveness and Norman Bates' eventual sexual desires for her. Norman Bates. The word bait is used to describe a falcon or a hawk attempting to escape from something like a perch in a state of fear or agitation, which parallels with Norman's subconscious desires of leaving his mother. However, the word bait can also mean restrain, which foreshadows what he does to Marion and what his mother does to him in order to achieve their respective goals.
I wish you could apologize for other people.
The other people Norman Bates is referring to is his mother. However, note the reflection of Norman Bates on the window. This foreshadows his split personality and implies that the other person he talked about, his mother, is in fact his alter ego. Here we see a mid-shot of Norman Bates and Marion Crane. Norman Bates first steps forward, then reluctantly steps backwards again. This may be following on from the reflection on the window, and show Norman's inner struggles of deciding who he truly wants to be, his mother or himself. He first steps forward, nicely offering Marion food, as he starts to develop a passion for her. Then his alter ego, his mother, dominates and draws him away from Marion as she hates her son being with any other woman apart from herself. We then see Marion being framed at a slightly low-angle shot, which immediately takes away her agency and conveys her submissiveness. She is also being infantilized as she stares with her eyes round and wide. This suggests her confusion of Norman's irregular behavior, but also her cluelessness of what her fate is about to become. The bird motif shows up again when we see the owl wings appearing right on Norman's back. The owl is symbolic of change, and traditionally it is the announcer of death. This implies the eventual role Norman plays in Marion's death and reinforces the predator and prey relationship between Norman and Marion.
It's all for you. I'm not hungry, go ahead.
Norman says, "It's all for you, I'm not hungry," which arouses suspicion, as that's not what he said earlier on when he invited Marion for dinner. He told Marion that he was about to fix food for himself, and now Norman can be seen as a contradictory character, with perhaps hidden plans. However, one may also argue that he is only trying to get Marion dinner, as he is desperate to have company and escape his mother.
You eat like a bird.
By saying Marion eats like a bird, Norman is essentially comparing Marion to all the stuffed birds he has killed. This foreshadows Marion's eventual death again. Norman is also extremely proud of these stuffed birds, as these birds are one of the only things he has control over. He sees these birds as his victory and values them greatly, and this may imply Marion's growing importance and value to Norman, and suggest Norman's hidden desires of owning and dominating Marion. The chiaroscuro lighting on Norman's face also emphasizes split personality once again. And the binary opposition of light and dark also suggests the struggles and tensions Norman has within himself, or rather, in his point of view, the struggles and tensions between him and his mother.
If anyone ever talked to me the way I heard, the way she spoke to you.
The shot angle then suddenly changes to a low-angle shot focusing on Norman when Marion criticizes Norman's mother. This gives Norman immediate power and agency in this scene, but also creates suspense for the audience as the palette becomes darker when Mrs. Bates is mentioned. Contrasting to the previous shot, where Norman was under chiaroscuro lighting, only one side of Norman's face is shot this time, and it is the darker side. This may signify Mrs. Bates becoming the dominant personality within Norman as she develops hate and anger against Marion. The bird motifs are present in this scene again, and a clear opposition between the predator, which is the owl, and the prey, the songbird, can be seen. This may suggest the two sides of Norman, with the predator being Mrs. Bates, and the prey being Norman. The predator, or the owl, which symbolizes Mrs. Bates, is in fact in a higher position and a more dominating state in this scene. It has its wings spreaded wide and a dark shadow to emphasize control. The idea of voyeurism is also connoted by Alfred Hitchcock through the paintings of naked women in the background. This parallels with Norman's sexual desires for Marion, and he does eventually watch her change on shower. In this case, Norman can also be the predator, the owl, and Marion is the prey, a songbird.